We have gone live. We are confirming and going live. Okay. Ready, monkey? You ready? Woo! Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's a late night after dark. Houston, we have a problem. And it's an exciting one. I'm glad I waited because Rosa dumped another filing, sent it to me. She said it might be amended. There might be something else she adds in there, but we're going to go over it tonight and see what she has to say. I'm sure it's delicious. I haven't even looked at it yet. I just I got her email and she did include a little part about what she wants to add. You know, as much as you want there. It's always good. But welcome everyone, right? So, Monkey Butt, anything to add? No? Nothing too exciting happened today. And everything's kind of that's the way it went. So this is our this is our excitement for the evening. The shills went nuts though, just about a couple hours ago, posting all sorts of stuff about how FINRA is right and shutting everything down and blah blah blah. And none of them really seem to actually understand market mechanics in any way, even though some of them have a Substack based on market mechanics. It's pretty interesting. And then it came out that they were a different account and changed their name and all sorts of weird stuff. Anyway, you can head to my Twitter and probably see me arguing with them. There seems to be like 3 of them who are really just market maker apologists that you can point out that market makers have the power to naked short, and they're like, no. And then you can point out that like there's $65 billion in securities sold, not yet purchased from 2021 for just Citadel, and they'll be like, that's all options. And you point out that options are a derivative, and the securities don't get delivered until the option is exercised, therefore it doesn't count. But they'll go, no. And then they say, where's your proof that there's naked shorting? And you can show them the short volume. And they say, the short volume isn't only short selling. I'm like, yeah, but it's a large portion of it. You can also compare it to, say, FTDs, such as on the threshold list for 40 days. And then they just ignore you and call you dumb. It's beautiful. So, without further ado, a shebang. Off. Not today, suckers. Okay. Without further ado, if you got questions, we'll get to them. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. How many pages? 17 pages? That probably takes like 20 minutes, half an hour. What do you think? Oh, Rosa's in here. Fantastic. So if I get things wrong, Rosa can just go, you're wrong. Pop that in the chat for me. And we'll find out exactly when and where I was wrong on things. But without further ado, the document of the week here. Boom. All right. Here we go. They have really convoluted case numbers in federal court, don't they? All right. Here, Rosa opposes defense motion to dismiss. In support of her opposition, plaintiff states as follows. As of the date of this filing, 60 days have lapsed since the defendant halted trading on the Meta Series A preferred share, MMTLP, and not a single shareholder has received NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. On February 6, 2023, CEO Cromwell Coulson of the OTC markets, where MMTLP was being traded, tweeted from his verified account, there was a short position on MMTLP. The data reference comes from a twice-a-month OTC equity short interest on FINRA website. Coulson continues in his thread by urging that it would be easier if NextBridge shares became publicly tradable. The short position Coulson commented on is the reason plaintiff and her class of shareholders have yet to receive NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. Boom, right out the bat, pointing out the short shares that it seems that FINRA keeps wanting to ignore. That the OTC market, the CEO of the OTC has stated that happens. FINRA's own website shows the short volume. And the reg show thresholds list shows a whole bunch of FTDs. So boom, there's 3 things right there that back up Rosa's entire argument. So hitting a home run right at the bat. That sucker is like a punch to the nuts for FINRA. Short positions are contracts to borrow shares from shareholders to be returned at a later date. Private companies are not eligible for shorting, and thus NextBridge Hydrocarbons cannot carry short positions. All short positions must fulfill their contract with the shareholders before the private company Nextbridge Hydrocarbons can issue the 1-for-1 exchange. The CEO of the OTC markets has confirmed on a public platform that the defendant has not enforced the contract. The contracts be fulfilled at the expense of shareholders. Oh, delicious. So good. The method suggested by the CEO of OTC Markets, who has a financial interest in reducing obligation for holders of short positions, will, 1, not require short positions to close their contractual obligations because short positions can be held on public companies, thus benefiting parties acting in concert, and 2, violate the intent and mission of Nextbridge Hydrocarbons, a public reporting private company. Oh, so good. As it stands, shareholders cannot hold a shareholder meeting, hold an emergency meeting, or seek direction from a board of directors because shareholders cannot be ascertained. So the powers that are supposed to be granted to you via having your shares, you cannot have because no one has the shares. Right? We haven't received them yet. Woo! That's another subtle way of saying there's an injury. I think she's just warming up here. Oh, it's a beautiful read. Short positions are contracts to borrow and return a share at a later date. Precluding short positions from fulfilling the obligation of returning the shared stock is taking, and failure to regulate the short positions that are unreturned after over 45 days of failures to deliver is an act in concert to dilute private company Nextbridge Hydrocarbons, over which defendant has no authority. There you go. All right. So basically she's saying that the halt destroyed the ability of short sellers to close their positions, and in doing so help them. So that is not their job. Their job is not to help short sellers. That is not part of their purview. Their purview is to make sure there's no shenanigans in the market instead of promoting the shenanigans. Okay, a 12b6 motion. What was the court rule? 12b6, I presume, civil rule. Motion tests whether the plaintiff has pled a cognizable claim. See Sheed versus Fandy Farmer Candy Shops, blah, 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 blah. A court is to presume well-pled allegations are true, resolve the doubts and inferences in favor of the pleader, and view the pleading in the light of the most favorable of the non-moving party. And then another citation. A complaint. So this is talking about her motion to reconsider that they're opposing, and how the court is supposed to approach this. A complaint should not be dismissed for failure to state claim unless it appears beyond doubt that the plaintiff can prove no set of facts in support of his claim which would entitle him to relief. Therefore, the standard applied in evaluating motion to dismiss. This is refers to her motion to dismiss, not her. Their motion to dismiss. Standard applied in evaluating a motion to dismiss is very liberal in favor of the party opposing the motion. See blah 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 blah. When a defendant alleges Article 3 standing, the plaintiff is protected by safeguards similar to a Rule 12b6 motion to dismiss for failure to state a claim. The court must treat the factual allegations in the complaint as true. Another citation. The U.S. Supreme Court has directed the court to be mindful that, at the pleading stage, general factual allegations of injury resulting from defendant's conduct may suffice. Basically, because Rosa stated that she was injured by these actions, that should be enough to keep the case from being dismissed. The court must presume that general allegations embrace those specific facts that are necessary to support the claim. Basically, she presented some evidence, she showed how she was injured, therefore the standard for the court must be we move on. The court should not dismiss a case unless satisfied that the complaint cannot state any set of facts that would entitle the plaintiff to relief. Meaning, if they cannot say that her injuries weren't injuries. Right? So if she says, hey, I was injured by FINRA and these are the reasons why, and none of their filings in their motion to dismiss show that she wasn't injured in that way, then they can't dismiss. I mean, like, if you're going to dismiss something, it'd be, I was late to work this morning because I was laughing too hard at the morning DJ saying something, and I got into an accident, and I'm going to sue the DJ for being funny, right? The court is going to throw that case out. the DJ had nothing to do with you not paying attention to the road. You could easily, if you were, laughing too hard, you could pull over, and you've got your own ways of solving that problem. So Rosa's saying, no, I was injured. These are specific ways of injured by this action. You can't dismiss because they can't show that I wasn't injured in this way. Argument. Article 3 standing. The Honorable Court in the Northern District of Florida can't read apparently. The Honorable Court is in the Northern District of Florida and has the right to hear federal questions, Sherman Act claims, and federal questions. Sherman Act claims are federal questions. 15 U.S.C. 1, the defendant makes a sweeping allegation that the plaintiff lacks Article 3 standing by claiming that private persons should be able to monopoly with no avenue for recourse or judicial intervention, when in fact Congress passed Section 5A of the Clayton Act intending to give the private litigant as much aid in establishing a violation of the antitrust laws as was then perceived to be possible under the Constitution. The use of government judgment in private antitrust litigation, Clayton Act, blah, 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 collateral estoppel and jury trial. The right of action under Article 4 of the Clayton Act Section 4? I can't remember if that means article or section. The Clayton Act is available only to private plaintiffs who have suffered antitrust injury. Bam. The defendant further argues that because the subject matter at issue is within the SEC's regulatory purview, this court lacks jurisdiction. A district court lacks subject matter jurisdiction to hear claims when Congress creates a comprehensive regulatory scheme from which it is fairly discernible that Congress intended the agency expertise will be brought to bear prior to any court review. We do not think, however, that Congress intended for the SEC to adjudicate claims such as the ones at issue here. A private cause of action for fraud under 10b Rule 10b-5 emphasized the defendant has not pointed to any language in the Exchange Act. The evidence is such an intention. Our interpretation of the Exchange Act in this case would not interfere with the administrative process because meritorious private actions to enforce federal anti-fraud securities laws are an essential supplement to civil enforcement actions adjudicated by the SEC. Basically, the SEC can step in and do this role, but that's not the only ones who can step in and do this role. The courts can as well, via a lawsuit like this. So sometimes regulators don't catch everything, and sometimes you get sued for it. Okay. Although the Exchange Act does not expressly provide for private cause of action for 10b violations, ever since our decision in Fishman versus Raytheon Manufacturing Company, we've held that 10b provides such an implied right. Thus, a private plaintiff can recover on an antitrust claim for loss which stems from a competition-reducing aspect or effect of the defendant's behavior. Okay, so Rosa can sue because of their behavior. That's very simple. Absolute immunity is rare and exceptional in character. The defendant serves two functions. One, as a self-regulatory organization to promulgated and enforce rules governing the conduct of its members, and two, as a billion-dollar private investment organization whose net income in 2021 was $1.4 billion, with 90% of assets being cash and investments, and whose CEO received a salary of $3.12 million in 2020. Because of the duality of the function of regular agency and private business interests, such as investment interest in trading volume and market activity, courts should review the pertinent conduct and determine whether the conduct was protected by immunity claims. Basically saying, if there's immunity, it's probably immunity for something specific, and the court should look at whether this fits that role of the specificity of the immunity. Courts must examine the invocation of absolute immunity in a case-by-case basis. There you go. Given the significant protection, courts have cautioned that the doctrine of a rare and exceptional character, Barrett v. United States, until shareholders can be ascertained to exercise shareholder rights or reconciliation occurs, shareholders are deprived and no remedy is available. The deprived shareholders of judicial remedy will be an extreme use of the doctrine. So basically, you can't give them immunity because there is no recourse other than this lawsuit currently because they've been injured. All right. When exchange engages in conduct to operate its own market that is distinct from its oversight role. It is acting as a regulated entity, not a regulator, as found in Amerivet Securities Incorporated v. FINRA. This is the one that Amerivet was able to win and force FINRA to give them all the documents they wanted. In order to determine whether the defendant was acting in their official capacity or as an investor-regulated entity working in a concerted effort to suppress the fulfillment of contractual obligations of shareholders, an accounting must be furnished. So she's asking, show me the numbers. Give those numbers to me. And if they have to give the numbers to her, then they don't have the immunity that they claim, right? Claims are not moot until Nexbridge is issued to shareholders. The defendant claims that plaintiff's claims are moot. However, MMTLP has not been deleted, and there has not been a D1 issuance to delete the symbol. The defendant obfuscates as to the meaning of the deletion when provides false information regarding the status of the symbol. This is where FINRA and all of their documents so far have said they deleted MMTLP. We deleted it on the 13th. It doesn't exist. It's gone. And when you go look, it has not been deleted, and the halt still exists. Right? So they lied in their documentation to the court. Motion to dismiss, number page 22. So she's citing the page that they make this lie on. If one makes a call to FINRA headquarters upon request, they will share that the symbol has not been canceled. A D1 is issued with the deletion of a symbol. However, due to the inability to reconcile MMTLP, it cannot and has not. Plaintiff implores this court to inquire independently, as the symbol cannot be deleted because the defendant has protected their own investments and acted in concert with investing parties seeking independent financial interest. The defendant further obfuscates, as it indicates the defendant simply reviews company requests as if documents are not deemed deficient, publishes corporate actions, motion to dismiss, page 22, or number 22, page 10. When in fact the defendant sets the ex-dividend and effective dates. Boom. There's a nice little hot account for you. Hot link. When the defendant was aware of the outstanding short positions, the failures to deliver, and was in control of the ex-dividend and effective dates, they acted to shield parties holding short positions in investment conglomerates such as their $1.4 billion investment assets at the expense of plaintiff and shareholders of MMTLP. A case is moot when the issues presented are no longer live or parties lack a legally cognizable interest in the outcome. The defendant has not deleted the symbol, and the exchange process has not been resolved due to the unreconciled outstanding short contracts acknowledged by the CEO of the OTC markets, where the symbol was trading until the defendant's halt. Until shareholders can be ascertained to exercise shareholder rights, or until Nexbridge Hydrocarbons has been issued, the case and controversy is very much alive and requires judicial intervention to protect plaintiff shareholder due to the lack of transparency from the defendant's actions as an investor and a regulated entity. So basically, she's throwing down, and Rosa's probably in here going, yeah, I'm throwing that down. She's throwing down that FINRA operates in two roles. One, they are a regulator, and two, they're also a participant. And if those roles cross, and they are using the regulatory power to protect their role as a participant, then they're really screwed. The foregoing reasons, plaintiff respectfully requests this court to deny the defendant's motion to dismiss. Submitted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then we've got the Amerivet Securities Incorporated order showing that FINRA had to pony up all that stuff. That was actually, a lot of these pages are the Amerivet one. Okay. DC Attorney acknowledges that whenever possible, a question of absolute immunity should be determined on the outset of the litigation. Okay. These courts also recognize, however, that sometimes discovery will be necessary and helpful in making this determination. So in order for them to even determine if they've got immunity, they're still going to have to follow through and provide the data that she's requesting. That was quick. That wasn't too painful. We got through that sucker. All right. Yeah. Boom. So we've got court precedent, and she's got it on her side here. Let me see if I can bring up one sec. Oh shit, I didn't turn off the daytime one. Well, that reminds me that yesterday, you folks are amazing. We ended up raising $2,507 for Pious Projects to aid in the recovery and rescue efforts in Turkey and Syria. So you guys are fantastic. So at least that reminded me to just give you a round of applause. The situation is really dire over there. It is freakishly cold. It's snowing on everybody. There are people been trapped under homes for days, and they're still trying to get folks in, rescuers in from all over the world to help dig through these wreckages and try to recover. Hopefully, folks are still alive. But sadly, a lot of it's turning into body recoveries at this time. But I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your donations yesterday. However small it is, we can try to make a difference and help, people live their best lives and recover from such a horrible event. So thank you for that. Yes. All right. So let me see if I can get. I don't want to accidentally show Rosa's email to everyone in the world here. So one sec. Okay, there's Rosa. Oh, she did amend. Awesome. Okay. All right. How do I'm going to. Okay, it's just a little thing she was going to add in there. Let me just copy this. Where can I paste it? I can paste it into. I don't want to. What can I do? I can do this. I can go there. I can go to docs. There we go. All right, let's make a blank doc. We'll just post that guy in. There we go. All right, and bam. Okay. Dismiss. Okay. So Rosa amended, put one little guy in there. Defendant further obfuscates as it indicates that the defendant simply reviews, and if documents are not deemed deficient, publishes corporate action. Motion to dismiss, ECF number, blah, blah, blah. When in fact, defendant sets the ex-dividend date and effective dates. When the defendant was aware of the outstanding short positions, the failure to deliver, and was in control of ex-dividend and effective dates, they acted to shield parties holding short positions in investment conglomerates, such as their $1.4 billion investment assets at the expense of plaintiff and shareholders MMTLP. So she's pointing out the conflict of interest in that guy. So it's in there. We got it. Okay. Rosa, it's late as hell. I'm sure you're excited you got this sucker in there. So thank you for stopping by, and thank you for doing all your hard work and get in there and just rocking the world, man. Just fortitude right there. Okay. And if you want to do a show at some point, I know you got this whole Texas bar thing you got to study for. So, we can wait. we can wait. Yeah. My eyes look great. It's just the camera. My eyes are actually very blue. That's probably just the camera. All right. So, after the bar exam, we'll do a show. Excellent. Perfect. Nice glasses using. No, the glasses are not nice. These are busted ass, old ass glasses. A viewer sent me some fantastic glasses. I was supposed to get new ones done in June, and then I got COVID, missed my appointment, and it's been like a 4-month wait to see the eye doctor, and I just haven't been able to figure out when 4 months from now I can do it, and thus I am partially blind still with some busted ass glasses. But I will have really cool ones eventually when actually these are a little crooked. They're always crooked. When I get my hand, when I can get it done. Also, by then my brain won't be soup. There you go. All right. What's your prescription? Honestly, my prescription has changed now. I need to get them redone anyway. So I don't know what my prescription is at the moment. Not a clue. It's something. It's different. What's weird is that my prescription hadn't changed for like a decade, and I was gonna get new glasses. Got COVID, and my prescription has changed since I got COVID. So it's probably a good thing I didn't get my glasses then, because they wouldn't have been working right anyway. So been doing a lot more of this recently than I like. Carlos Cruz wants to send us somewhere. Looks like we're Midwest? East Coast? Well, might as well take an adventure while we let our brains grok what Rosa is throwing down for us. Oh, yeah, we're still in We're still in New Mexico. The very large array. Boom. We're in town. What town are we in? Where are we? Somewhere Midwest. We are. I want to see what town we're in. We're on. Was that Missouri River? What river are you? Lost Nation. We're in Dixon. Dixon what? Oh. It was Wisconsin? Oh, Illinois. Dixon, Illinois. Okay. Dixon, Illinois. And we are at some little building. And that little building is shaped like a cock and balls. There we go. Highbrow. That was the Christian Science Society of Dixon. So the oh. Christian Science Society's got a schlonger for a building. Good job. I mean, when you look at, we get the blue, like, you're commissioning a building and they give you the floor plan. You look at that floor plan and you go, that makes sense. Or do you somehow, does the architect somehow never actually show you the floor plan and you just approve it anyway based on, like, I don't know, elevation views? Like, oh, it's got a nice front to it. I approve that. And you never actually look at what a wiener they just made. Just the amount of architects who managed to get wieners built is just phenomenal. Good night, Rosa. Glad to leave you with a wiener. Good times. Good times. Good job there, Carlos. Delicious. All right. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's jump into the chat here and see what you guys are asking about. So, all right. Lost Ways, watch Pick of Destiny already. I'll see what's streaming on. I have no idea what platform it's streaming on, but I'll watch it. I never got around to it. Jason Blackwell. Uh-oh. Hey, Houston. I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm totally clean now. All right. Lost Ways. Also, did you see GPT chat broke? Word on the street. They found Bigfoot at the Eye of Africa on Houston's birthday. All right. Well, I mean, lots of things are breaking today. Chris Collins. So has the dilution been missed from the filings? Nothing in this latest one could swear was mentioned after Rosa's last submission. So they submitted an S1 to do an offering of 40 million shares to select investors, like select accredited investors, meaning some institution or whatever. And then they retracted. Not so they retracted, but they said, it's not happening right now. We're going to wait. So they're waiting. Rosa could have put it in there saying, hey, I said that dilution was a possibility of my being injured, that they might dilute without me having the ability to decide if I want to be in or not. And then it looks like they're going to make that movement towards dilution. Sure, she could put that in there. She may have left it out simply because that they're kind of holding back now at the moment. So there you go. Anna Rulnick, hi Houston. I am recovering from surgery and listened to your last show on Vicodin. That was weird. Well, hope surgery went all right, and I hope Vicodin-induced Houston is up to par. Chris Collins, P.S. Congrats on Emergency Charity Tuesday. Yeah, you guys were awesome. There were some glitches, and YouTube wasn't updating the grand total. And what it looks like is it stopped updating when we were like $551. And then another $1,000 got donated after the show, like during the recorded version. Another $1,000 got donated. And they updated the other 1,000 that had been donated during the show at some other point after I submitted a ticket. Again, YouTube was fantastic. Like I quickly chatted with somebody, told them I was up, sent them the link, sent them a screenshot, and they're like, oh, we'll fix this. No problem. Thank you for letting us know this is happening. And then that evening it was all fixed. So yeah, $2,507. That's now number 2 for the most we've ever raised. So great job for, this small little platform show. You guys are great. Absolutely great. I think that pushes us over $40,000 raised I'll do the math, but I think we were at like 39,000 after Charity Tuesday last week, so we should be around $41,000 total raised for charity in what 20 months of Charity Tuesdays. That's pretty good. You guys are awesome. Fantastic. 21 months, somewhere around there. But good job indeed. I never in my life imagined I would ever be able to raise like 40 grand for charity under any situation. So that's awesome. Okay. Oh, Rosa didn't go to bed yet. She's still here. All right. Are you explaining why I didn't include the dilution in there? It was not substantive filing. I think FINRA will respond to Rosa's filing. We're gonna get response to response to response to response in this case, I think. So, yeah. Okay. Dr. Spurgeon, the Sturgeon Surgeon, ChatGPT versus Bard Royal Rumble. Who wins? Or ChatGPT versus Bard Royal Rumble. Who wins? Is Bard another one of those whatchamajiggers? Bard AI, is that what it is? Output shares fall 7% following Google's AI event. Is Bard the one that the engineer was convinced was aware, and then they had to like fire him because he was like, dude, this thing is aware of its existence, is now an entity, and then they fired him or put him on leave or whatever. So that one, Google's AI chatbot Bard makes a factual error in first demo. So that's what happened 15 hours ago. All right. Bard is their tendency to yeah, but ChatGPT does the same thing. They made entire things up. There was a really cool thing a material scientist did where they were asking ChatGPT to produce a paper on a particular, I don't know if it was like a rotation of a particle, like an electron or something, and to explain it. And the ChatGPT just produced like a 20-page academic paper citing sources, explaining the mechanics behind this whole thing, and it was all wrong. It was completely made up. Like there was no paper ever that described this action in that way, and so I don't know. I think they can both be really wrong together. I would like to have to put a voice to both Chat GPT and Bard and do the whole when they did like Alexa and Google little spot, whatever they call it, and they had them like just have conversations that are running live on YouTube. Those are fantastic because then they just went from like loving each other to wanting to destroy all humans to breaking up with each other. It was a wonderful series of events that happened there. Ron Johnson, I'm not 100% understanding warp drive. Isn't that bending space and where those 2 points meet, you basically step off from one point to the next? Someone asked about how to slow down. Help me. Warp drive, I mean, it's all fantasy physics. The warp drive involves a warp field, meaning if you don't have a warp field and you travel at those speeds, you are going to basically travel through time. The effects of time dilation will affect you and the vessel and everything traveling relative to it. So you make a warp field, and then you can power through space and essentially sort of slip between places when you are using that warp field, and so that time is not affected by the velocity you're traveling. How they do that, I don't know. It's sci-fi magic. That's what it is. Which is why, and there's episodes where, okay, try to remember, and I'm gonna like mix up all my Star Treks because they all kind of blend together in my head. But there is, was it in the most recent New Worlds one? They end up going back in time, right? And no, wait. I don't think it was New Worlds. I might be confusing and doing the Orville. I think it's the Orville. The Orville also uses warp and all that. It's analogous to that. But I think they go back in time to like LA in the 90s or something, and then their time travel machine no longer works, and they go, oh shit. So what they do is they like travel at the speed of light without their warp field and manage to like travel through time 400 years or whatever. So they travel like to a far distance that's 400 years away, and they travel back another 400 light years, and then in the amount of time it takes them to do that, they wind up back where they should be. I think it was Orville. But that's sci-fi mumbo jumbo. Okay, guitar stuff. What do you suppose is produced here? Okay, this looks like a little bit further west than where we were in Illinois. Is it going to be another penis? That is the question. Bam, bam, bam. Going a little north, going a little west. Are we in a little Canada? Boom. We are in a tiny little town. Uranium City. Well, my guess is uranium. There's probably a uranium mine somewhere out here. Uranium City, Saskatchewan. Uranium City Water Aerodrome. Let's see what Uranium City, Saskatchewan tells us is in Uranium City. Uranium City, a northern settlement in Saskatchewan, Canada, located on the northern shores of Lake Athabasca, near the border with Northwest Territories. It's 230 meters above sea level. The settlement, blah, blah, blah. History. Athabascite was discovered by S. Kamen while he was researching radioactive materials around Lake Athabasca, so it must be a uranium ore. The provincial government decided to establish community to service the mines in Beaver Lodge uranium area, developed by El Dorado Mining Foundry. Yeah, so they definitely mine uranium here. So Athabascite, what are you made of? It's a member of the copper selenide minerals, forms copper selenides. It was first discovered by S. Kamen. He was researching radioactive materials around Lake Athabasca. Kamen was conducting research near Uranium City, Saskatchewan, where mass amounts of uranium mines were present. Okay. So I guess uranium was being mined there before he made the discovery of this copper material. So Athabasca is not what has uranium. It has copper. What's it made of? Copper selenium. Okay. All right. So there's already mining going on for uranium at that time. The Oat Milk Man, appreciate the late night shows. That's all I got. Well, thank you, Oat Milk Man. The most threatening name on the internet. We're gonna have to, Oat Milk Man. We're gonna have to write a movie script about the Oat Milk Man. It's gonna be one of those like PG-13 horror movies that get dumped in theaters every January, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's the Oat Milk Man." Better watch out for the Oat Milk Man. He's gonna get